A very good morning to you, dear children, to your history class. Today we will learn and continue our lesson chapter 10, the expansion of the Maratha power, part 2. Now in the first part, do you remember what we learned, children? We learnt about the release of Shahu Maharaj, coronation of Shahu Maharaj, Balaji Vishwanath. Then we learnt about the Chauthai and Sardeshmukhi rights. And lastly, we learnt about Bajirao I. Now in the second part, we learn about Chimaji. You all must have heard of Chimaji, right? There's a Chimaji ground in Vasai. Previously over there were the Portuguese. But Chimaji came and conquered the Vasai fort. Here you can see the Vasai fort over here. He conquered the Vasai fort and also the Thane districts. And thus it led to the defeat of the Portuguese. So let us go inside and learn the rest of the lesson. Now in this explanation of part 2, we'll learn about Nizam's defeat of Palkhed. Now where is Palkhed? Palkhed is a village near the city of Nasik. Then we'll learn about Malwa, Bundelkhand. This word you must have heard before also. Bundelkhand is part of today's Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Currently it is now included in the northern Madhya Pradesh, Bundelkhand. Then we'll learn about the Battle of Bhopal. Then we'll also know about how the Portuguese ruled Vasai and Thane and later were defeated by Chimaji. Here you can see the portrait picture of Chimaji. And here you can see in this map, you can see our Vasai Creek, Thane, and then here you can see the Vasai fort. Many of you must have gone to the Vasai fort also, right? So previously I told you that the Portuguese were here. But Chimaji, he came and defeated them firstly at Thane and then he captured the Vasai fort. So we'll learn about this in this last part. I want you to pay attention very carefully. It's very interesting.
To see that how Nizams got defeated at Palkhed by Bajirao. We're going to see about Malwa, that how these regions were being captured and brought under the control of Maratha kingdom. And even we're going to see about Bundelkhand and King Chhatrasal's power in Bundelkhand. So let's continue with the explanation part. Nizam's defeat at Palkhed. So the Mughal emperor, we have studied that how Marathas, that is Balaji, had helped, and in return Marathas got the right of Chauthai and Sardeshmukhi. So the Mughal emperor Farrukh Sher appointed Nizam ul Mulk the Subedar of Deccan. And in 1713 CE, Nizam tried to establish his own separate kingdom at Hyderabad. He was completely against the emperor's rules. Why? Because emperor had given Marathas the right to recover Chauthai and Sardeshmukhi from the Deccan regions that were coming under the control of Mughals. That means from the Mughals they would take Chauthai and Sardeshmukhi. So Nizam was completely against it. Nizam thought that these rights should be given to Mughals only and not the Marathas. So he decided to capture the regions of Pune, Pargana. As we know that Nizam was against the rights of Chauthai and Sardeshmukhi that were being allotted to Marathas. And he shifted his powers towards Hyderabad as well as captured the regions of Pune, Pargana. Now here Bajirao came and he decided that he would defeat Nizam. And accordingly he defeated Nizam at Palkhed near Aurangabad. After all these, Nizam ultimately had to accept the Maratha rights of collecting Chauthai and Sardeshmukhi. As the Mughal powers day by day was getting weakened, Bajirao took advantage of this situation. He had thought that he would expand the Maratha Empire towards northern side. Along with his decision of spreading the Maratha powers towards northern side, Shahu Maharaj also supported his policy. So both of them together thought that they would expand the Maratha powers in each and every territory towards the Mughals and capture these kingdoms under the Maratha control. Moving on to the next point is Malwa. Malwa is today's Madhya Pradesh and it was being a part of Mughal Empire at that time. So Bajirao I sent the great Maratha warriors to defeat and to capture the Mughal territories that were in Madhya Pradesh. So he decided to send Mallarao Holkar, Ranoji Shinde and Udaji Pawar under the leadership of his own brother Chimaji Appa to Malwa. So along with these great Maratha Sardars, Chimaji Appa had went to Madhya Pradesh to capture the Mughal Empire and they strengthened their post there. Where? In Madhya Pradesh. Moving on to the next point is Bundelkhand. That means it is also present in today's Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. That means this region of Bundelkhand is at present there in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, whereas in the areas around Jhansi, Panna and Sagar. Now a great Rajput king, King Chhatrasal, had established his own kingdom in Bundelkhand. Along with this, the Mughal Subedar Muhammad Khan Bangush of Allahabad attacked Bundelkhand and had defeated Chhatrasal. So, what was his main intention? To defeat Chhatrasal and to capture the region of Bundelkhand and bring that under the control of Mughal Empire. Whatever region of Bundelkhand was under the control of King Chhatrasal was now being captured by a Mughal Subedar named Muhammad Khan Bangush. Now Chhatrasal was not having any kind of option, so he had appealed to Bajirao I for the help. So Bajirao I decided to help King Chhatrasal in return. Along with his huge army, he went to Bundelkhand. And Bajirao I, along with his army, had defeated Muhammad Khan Bangush. And Chhatrasal had awarded Bajirao I. He was being honored for his great work for the help what he had provided to King Chhatrasal. So this is how Maratha supremacy had established in different parts of Malwa as well as in Bundelkhand. After helping King Chhatrasal and capturing Bundelkhand again, now Bajirao I decided to move back to Malwa again. So Bajirao I demanded from the emperor the office of the Subedar of Malwa. But ultimately, the emperor denied to do so. He was not ready to award or he was not ready to give him the office of Subedar. So at last, Bajirao I decided that he would march on Delhi in 1737 CE. And by this step, all the Mughals were being surprised by the step that was took by Bajirao I. By seeing this, that the Bajirao I, along with his huge Maratha Sardar and armies, would come and attack at Delhi and capture the Sultanate of Delhi, Mughals were being little frightened. So in this part of the video, we are going to cover the Battle of Bhopal, the defeat of Portuguese by Chimaji Appa and the death of Bajirao I. So let's begin with the explanation and see each point in detail. My dear children, if you remember in the last part of the video, we have covered the topic about Bundelkhand. We know that how King Chhatrasal was defeated by Mughal Subedar. And after receiving the help from Bajirao I, he again got his kingdom back and he was very thankful to Bajirao. Before with that, King Chhatrasal had written a letter to Bajirao for the help. So in the letter he had mentioned that few wordings are there in Marathi and its translation is given in English. So he said that his situation is just like an elephant whose leg is caught by a crocodile. and it's very difficult to come out with the situation. So you are the only one survivor to save my life, and you can only help me in this situation to come out. So this was a letter written by Chhatrasal to Bajirao I. After receiving this letter, then Bajirao I decided that along with his huge Maratha army, he would defeat the Mughal Subedar. And accordingly, as per the planning, he had done so. The Battle of Bhopal. The emperor felt well uneasy on account of when Bajirao I decided to move on his campaign towards Delhi and capture the throne of Delhi, bring that under the control of Maratha Empire. By seeing this, emperor decided that he would invite Nizam to protect Delhi. Already Nizam was defeated by Bajirao I at the Battle of Palkhed, but still he decided that he would take his revenge from Bajirao I. So, after decision, he, along with his huge army, tried to defeat Bajirao I. So, Nizam marched against Bajirao with his huge army. Bajirao again had defeated Nizam at Bhopal. Once Nizam got defeated at Palkhed, and again now he got defeated at Bhopal. So Nizam agreed to secure the sanad of Malwa Subedari for the Marathas from the Badshah. So Nizam decided that he would be the part of Marathas and he would help them to secure the sanads that were present in Malwa with the help of emperor. With the decision of emperor, he would give them to the Marathas the sanads. Moving on to the next point is the defeat of Portuguese. So the territories of Vasai and Thane on the Konkan coast were under the possession of Portuguese. So the Portuguese were always harassing their subjects. They were creating difficulties in their life, not providing them justice and equality. So by this, his subjects were not happy with his ruling powers. So whose ruling powers? The Portuguese. Ultimately, Bajirao I decided that he would defeat Portuguese. So what he did? He had sent his brother Chimaji Appa to defeat Portuguese, and accordingly Chimaji Appa had done so. Chimaji conquered Thane and the areas next to the Thane regions. After conquering the Thane regions and the areas next to that region, now Chimaji Appa decided to capture the Vasai fort. So in 1739 CE, he laid siege to the Vasai fort, and the fort was very strong enough. The Portuguese had a powerful artillery at the fort. So in spite of all this, Chimaji Appa continued his work of capturing the fort, and with the perseverance and focused on the Portuguese to surrender. So what was his aim? His aim was that the Portuguese should come and surrender in front of the Marathas, and that would be a great defeat for the Portuguese. So the fort of Vasai and the large parts of the Portuguese territory passed on into the hands of Marathas. Ultimately, Portuguese decided that they would surrender, and this fort, that is the fort at Vasai, as well as the territories that were being under the control of Portuguese, these all were handed over to the Marathas. Bajirao had to struggle for the establishment and continuing the power of Maratha kingdom. So every now and then enemies used to attack. He used to defeat them. So once he got rid with the local powers and some of the regions were under the control of Maratha kingdom now the international powers decided to defeat the Marathas, to decline the power of Maratha kingdom. So Nadir Shah, the emperor of Iran, invaded India. He came to India, and by seeing this, Shahu Maharaj had ordered Bajirao set out towards north with a huge army to defeat the Mughal powers. But ultimately, what had happened? Unfortunately, Bajirao could not reach to the destination on time. So When Bajirao had reached to Burhanpur, up till then Nadir Shah had returned back to Iran by capturing the huge, enormous wealth from Delhi. That means Nadir Shah had returned to Iran with an enormous booty looted from Delhi. Unfortunately, in April 1740, Bajirao passed away. That was his last breath at Rawarkheda, on the banks of Narmada. Bajirao was a great general. He had continued the legacy of Maratha power till the end of his life. With his valor, he had established the Maratha supremacy in North, and not only in North but many other regions of India. He had taught lesson to many of the rulers who tried to defeat him and troubling the subjects. Bajirao had one status. He was being honored, rewarded for his great work, courage, bravery towards the Maratha power. He had worked hard to continue with the legacy of Maratha kingdom, and being a part of that, we cannot deny that many Maratha warriors had sacrificed their life to continue this kingdom as a formidable power in whole India. So at his time, that is at the time of Bajirao I, Shindes, Holkars, Pawar, Gaikwad families attained prominence. Even they tried to establish the powers in different regions. So my dear children, before ending with the video, if you all just remember about a movie Bajirao, so in that movie, if you see that how he had continued his courage, his bravery, and with this, how he had struggled for the protection of Maratha kingdom, and along with that, how he had fought with different enemies, ultimately how his life comes to an end. So in this way, in this video, we have seen that how he had struggled with Nizam once again at Bhopal, and along with his brother Chimaji Appa, how he defeated Portuguese. Unfortunately, his life come to an end, but his struggle continued for the Marathas. So here I end up with this video. I hope you have understood the video. Keep watching. Take care. Bye bye.